Good morning, everyone. I'm Catherine Ross at TheStreet. I am here on the floor of the NYSE with Jim Cramer. Jim, the markets are rallying. What are your thoughts?
Look, I don't know whether it can last, but remember at the beginning of the week I said when we hit -5 in the oscillator, we should be able to get a 3 to 5% rally, and we're on target, lower end of that now. Yesterday, Mark Sebastian, who's unbelievable in real money, I mean, Jesus, he knows his stuff, was talking about how the VIX and the VIVIX were signaling that we could have a very big rally. Of course, obviously, that would take Jerome Powell to walk back his ill-advised comments from October 3rd about the strength of the economy because it's not bearing out. And I've got reams of data that would show you that. And I also think that Salesforce is carrying the day, and that's why things are up. And I don't know about the legs of Salesforce. Right now, it's strong. It's Adobe, it's Workday, it's the Cloud Kings. And we're doing a lot of work with the Cloud Kings, and I hope that we're going to develop a Cloud Kings index for real money, and we're going to reintroduce the post-industrial index, and we're going to have a fill or kill section. I'm doing a lot behind the scenes to revitalize real money.
That's so exciting.
We're at the highest subscription level we had in 5 years, and I want to plow through and go to the next level with real money. And I'm directly involved with the editorial system, and I think we're going to do some really great things, including what I regard as being a far more, forward-thinking herd on the street like column with fill or kill. I'm going to revitalize fill or kill, and I do think that what I'm looking at is, I'll be talking about, say, the Cloud Kings, and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. So it's Salesforce that's driving things. It was a very good quarter, and I think what's important to notice is that Salesforce, David Faber and I were going back and forth. Salesforce's conference call was really about how it really doesn't matter how the economies do. We're doing well because of digitization. But then Mark Benioff did say he didn't even know if he could staff anymore because there's so many people that he needs. I think that's more a reflection of the fact that that you need to code. There's a tremendous section in the conference call about the 1 million people who have been taught to code by Trailhead. I got taught to code by Twilio, and that you don't need to go to Stanford to learn. But it was a very interesting call because it really did lay out a thesis where you could justify one rate hike, but then I think you'd have to justify waiting.
And just so everyone knows, Salesforce is real money stock of the day,
Yes.
so we'll have wall-to-wall coverage from our reporters.
When I started stock of the day, what was important was I said, look, there'll be a stock that we have to be the dominant place to go to. I never really lay out the ethos of why I do some of these things as I got more actively involved in real money. And the answer is because you need every angle in Salesforce. There are people who think that the strength was the economy, but then I point to the fact that Europe was 27%, and there's not a lot of strength in Europe. There are people who think that the strength is because they're taking share from SAP and Oracle. I subscribe to that. Plus, they did have a 9-figure deal with a bank that they wouldn't reveal, and a monster deal with Citicorp's Michael Corbat. I was at Robinhood. I sat between Michael Corbat, Citi CEO, and Mark Benioff. He was at this table, that table, and there's tremendous need to be digitized for your customer-facing aspect. Keep up with Bank of America, which has very customer-facing aspect, and Citi's relying on Salesforce. More than 60% of Salesforce's business comes from the system integrators, and that means Deloitte, Accenture, PwC, which all really favor, I believe, Salesforce as the platform that people should be on. And yet I say that we're on Salesforce, and our business has picked up since we're on Salesforce.
We have the Fed Chairman Jay Powell's speech at noon, and I'm wondering if you think that the market will dip when he goes on stage. Now, that's something that we've seen before.
We were up ahead. Look, this is really a fulcrum moment for the Fed because, for instance, we had a guest on this morning on Squawk who says the economy's accelerating. Doug Cash, who does excellent work for us in Real Money Pro, saying that the GDP bulge was really inventory, and if you took inventory build, and if you took that out, it was actually very par GDP. I think people have to recognize that there was a tremendous amount of buying of product from China ahead of the tariffs, and that, I think, increased the GDP, and that's not what you want. So if you're Jerome Powell, you're sitting there and you're thinking right now, how much of that GDP growth is inventory build to avoid tariff and how much is raw power? And I keep coming back to a tremendous insight that Nick Akins, who is the CEO of American Electric Power, that he said on Mad Money, which is that there was a downshift in all, remember, largest power company in the country, transmission company. There was a downshift in all of his regions except for the Permian. The Permian was up big, made up for all the all the weaker parts of the economy. And need I say, that was when oil was at 80, and now oil's at 50. So I think you're going to start seeing more steep rig declines, not the 3 that we had last week. I think you're going to see layoffs. You can't maintain the level of drilling at 50, given the fact that even the best, Anadarko, barely makes money at 50. They do make money, though, and that's why Anadarko remains a stock that we want to buy for action alerts, even though, candidly, this, like all the oil companies, have been bad. So don't get your hopes up for a big day until you see what Powell says. Now, I've been adamant that you don't know what he's going to say because there are acolytes of him who still are sticking by the theory that things are stronger than ever. And I come back as someone who's got a background in retail, and I see the weakness in brick and mortar was astounding this quarter, and that there'll be a lot of there'll be a lot of store closures.
Are you surprised?
A lot of people.
Are you surprised about the Tiffany earnings from this morning?
You know, I went over Tiffany's numbers, and Tiffany stock had rallied ahead. Tiffany had a comment about the strong dollar. I think Tiffany might be a buy. You know, I think it's overdone on the downside. But remember, the market is adjusted rather radically to a slowdown in spending. It's Dollar Tree, Dollar General, it's Burlington, it's TJX that are shining here. Even Kohl's, which we like, which is a discounter, did not deliver what TheStreet wants, and a lot of that, frankly, is a belief that there is a downshift. Now, I didn't buy that with Kohl's. We said buy it, and the reason I say that is because November was a strong month for Kohl's. Kohl's is a discounter. I think people have to, there's a lot of problems with when you cover retail, Catherine. I mean, for instance, you got to go to a Burlington to know why Burlington's up, and you got to go to Kohl's to know why Kohl's is down. And the snobs on Wall Street just don't do it. I am a creature of my father's retail background. I worked at Gimbel's. My mom worked at Litz, and my father sold box and bags of retailers forever. And I like bargains.
So I haven't asked Jim for you today, and Jace is wondering. Jace, and he's wondering whether or not. Well, what time is the best time to get into GE?
All right, now I have a good relationship with GE and have had one for a very long time. And my feeling is this. You're not going to, I'd rather miss the first 3 points of the upside. You need to see Steve Tusa. I wish that there was an analyst that wasn't this important. John Inch, too. But you need to see Steve Tusa go positive. And until he does, as much as I like Mr. Culp, and I really do, we own Danaher for Action Alerts, which he was really the guy who put it on the right course. I need to see the negative critics, change their mind. Now you could say, Jim, aren't you just a camp follower at this point? Well, at 28, when I interviewed Jeff Immel, I had a piece of Steve Tusa research which said that they'll never make the numbers. And GE told me, and Jeff Immel said it's not even going to be a problem, they're going to make it. And Tusa was right. And until Tusa's proven wrong, I'm not going to get positive on this.
All right, Jim, I really want to go more in depth with you on the G20 and haircut, the Fed and your haircut.
I missed it this weekend. You know, I was in Summit. I don't really particularly care for the haircutters in Summit. I like them in Brooklyn. I got a terrific guy, Ukrainian guy. He's fabulous. I say that on because, like I said, what? I don't understand what you're saying. He says it's Ukrainian. I said, well, if you speak English, I would feel better so I could understand what you're saying. He said, well, no, I'm speaking Ukrainian. I'm not talking to you. He said, okay, that's cool. That's cool. You know,
that's a fair point.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. But you know, this was I was in Summit. I live in Summit in Brooklyn, and my wife closed. My wife and Michelle, her partner, Michelle Ewan, they closed the Longshoreman Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give the employees time off. But this is hard launch. Hard launch was last night. I had a shrimp dish. That was on, we make our own pasta, beautiful homemade pasta. I've got a picture of it, it's so fabulous. And it was, I honest to God, I almost asked for seconds. I can't because of my waist, but it was so damn good, and we had hot kale salad. We are doing amazing things, Kevin, chef, along with Michelle. This was, I mean, honestly, this was the best shrimp pasta dish I have ever had, ever. Longshoreman, 215 Columbia. You have to take an Uber. Sorry, but we got the website up last week. It's pretty good.
Oh, congrats!
The Longshoreman, .com, whatever, but it's the LongshoremanBK.com, and it is my wife and my stepdaughter designed the website. It's pretty good.
All right, so head on over if you can.
Yeah, my wife's there every night. My wife closed. She was there till 11 last night. She was there to 11 ever since it's opened. That was the soft launch. I hope that once we get underway and we get a really good general manager, I hope to see my wife again.
All right. Well, I hope that you get to see Lisa soon, too.
You're very kind.
Thank you so much for joining me,
Thank
Jim.
you.
It's always a pleasure. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I'm Catherine Ross with TheStreet. And don't forget to send me your questions for Jim, either at catherine.ross@thestreet.com, or you can tweet at me, and Jim's going to make fun of me in just a second, at Catherine, ROOSS.
You have to always be in your mother. My mother would say, listen, if you're not willing to talk, tell the story about yourself, it's never going to be told.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. See you guys tomorrow.